welcome back to another episode of Emery Fishing Freak. And in today's video, we're going to be going over days 3 and 4 of the Florida Keys series, and specifically Marathon. Alright, so before we get into it, I did not do as much filming as I wanted to, or as much as the first and second episodes in the series. So, as you guys have seen by the title, it spoils it. If you want to skip straight to the catch and how I caught the tarpon, you can skip to down here, which this is the time for the video. Just go down and swipe through the video. I don't know what it is yet because I gotta edit it, but there it is. So, because I did not do that much filming, it means that today's video is going to be partially just me talking. So, I'm going to try to blast through the parts that do not contain fish catches. So let's get straight into it. So we started out day 3 of fishing back at the 7 Mile Bridge. We did a lot of fishing near the 7 Mile Bridge because it just kept giving us more and more fish. It didn't keep giving us more and more fish. We did get on some little snappers, and I was able to get on 2 new species. The surgeonfish, I believe. I'm trying to remember. I think it was a doctor surgeonfish or something. I'll put the name down here and the species. And then also a Bermuda chub. I know this one's a Bermuda chub. It's some sort of surgeonfish over here. New species, but not all that exciting for how the rest of the video goes. I'll let you guys see them and then push them out. So we got on a couple of small grunts and snapper, nothing keeper sized. So at around 6 o'clock, we just started heading back so that we could go and eat dinner on one of the islands. On our way back, we came across a spot in really, really shallow water, but it was this shallow flat, and then it drops off into this, I don't want to call it a channel because it was right where the old 7 Mile Bridge had its pylons going into the water. So it wasn't a channel for boats to go through, but it was a ditch. It was a deeper ditch. And so it had shallow flat, the ditch for the 7 Mile Bridge pylons, another shallow flat, and then another ditch for the new 7 Mile Bridge. We were underneath the old 7 Mile Bridge. Now, after about 5 minutes of casting around with a 1/8 ounce chartreuse jig head with a 5-inch chartreuse pepper jerk shad by Gulp. About 5 minutes of throwing that thing around, I hooked well, you'll see in a second, I hooked one right in between a pylon to the right of me. Let's get into that clip. Big barracuda! And so we got that up. I was gonna start talking there, but my dad cut it off. Here's the picture of it. It was 27 inches. That is my biggest barracuda and the biggest barracuda of the trip. I never actually mentioned, but in day 2 of fishing, I was actually able to catch a little barracuda, but it was little, so. But that made it my second barracuda of the trip, but not the final one. And then right after that, probably 5 to 10 casts later, this happened.
Oh my god, it came up! Oh my god, it's the 5-foot tarpon! Oh, keep fishing, keep fishing. I just saw tarpon right when you did that, Emery. Did you get that jump?
That fish right there was on the same bait that I just caught the barracuda off of. Well, not the exact same bait, but the same style bait, because barracuda tore it up. But as you guys saw there, that was a tarpon hooked up. Pretty crazy. That is my second tarpon I've ever hooked. I lost the first one too, but it was back in Tampa, which Bridge. I'm back in Tampa right now. In Tampa Bay. So, lost another tarpon. But because we still had another day after, I was not too disappointed. After I lost a tarpon, we decided to go up and around through the pylons. I would not recommend doing it. It was really, really tough. And you got to make sure you got a really, really high tide if you're going to do it. But we kind of weaseled our way through the pylons to try to get to the spot where we were at on the border of the inside of the 7 Mile Bridge and the old 7 Mile Bridge. And so, by the time we were up there, we were seeing sharks. Now, sadly, we were not able to land any of these sharks, but we do have a couple clips. So here's the first shark that we hooked on a full-sized live threadfin shad. Dead, it was frozen. Let's get into it.
Where's he at?
Wait, I think I marked something. Oh no.
Not really.
Now, as you guys just saw, we only had him hooked for a couple seconds, but that did not stop us. We kept fishing, and just to let you guys know, we were using the snapper rigs, but instead of the fluorocarbon, they were snapper rigs with steel leaders. So we were hoping to be able to land one. Let's just get into the second one.
Oh, it's running.
As you guys just saw, neither one of them stayed hooked. They both broke off. I don't know if it was because of the teeth or because they were rubbing up against the pylon, but either way, they both broke off. Now, what was cool is that we actually sight fished some of them. That was one of the reasons we weaseled our way back there, was that we had seen something floating around back there. Not floating around, but it was like a foot of water, so we saw its fin out of the water. So we didn't know if it was tarpon schooling up or sharks, but we wanted to chase them down. That was one of the reasons we went to that back cut. But sadly, we're not able to land either of the sharks. Now, by this time, it was about 7, and we wanted to get back and eat, so we left for the day. And then we entered day 4 of fishing. Day 5 produced the quality we wanted for the trip. This is the day where I caught one of my favorite catches of all time. But let's get into that. So, as soon as we got to it, we got a late start on day 4 of fishing. We got there around 12 or 1 o'clock, and right away I caught a 22-inch barracuda. Put that guy up right there on the same bait as I caught the other one on. So a nice one. But sadly, for the first 2 hours of day 5, that was the only thing we caught. We were seeing the tarpon still. They were rolling all around. Not big, huge ones like 200 pounders or whatever, but there were some big tarpon rolling through there. So we packed up for the morning session and headed in for lunch, and then we fished some beaches. And then we came out in the evening as well. We got there probably at around 3 or 4 o'clock. And whenever we first got there, we did not see many tarpon like we had been the morning and the day before. But we still fished it. Now, there's not really a way I can describe, because it was just casting and retrieving, but we did it for 30 to 45 minutes before I hooked up with my tarpon. So, now I'm going to show you the fish and then we're going to talk about it in a second. But there's going to be 2 camera angles. I kind of messed up my GoPro. The first couple seconds look fine though, and then it's my mom filming.
Tarpon on. Get the net, Dad. Get the net. Come on. No. Come on. Oh, God. Come on. Got him! Yes! Silver King! We gotta get him in the water.
Paul's in it. He's fine. He's your fish now. Keep going. 33. Let him go.
I'm gonna let him kick off.
Keep going.
He's going.
Yes! Oh!
33-inch tarpon. As you saw, he swam away fine. He was bleeding a little bit, but I think that was just because of the way he was hooked. He wasn't even hooked bad though. I don't know really why he was bleeding. But that's besides the point. He was fine. The way we caught the tarpon is actually funny because right before that, it was actually that was like my second cast with this bait. Still the same 1/8 ounce chartreuse jig head, but I had it was like a June bug almost color of jerk shad by Gulp. And I don't even really know why we had him because we had never used him before and it was a color that we weren't familiar with. But it prevailed in the end. It did good in the end. And that's really all that matters. So, after that, I'm just going to keep going because I don't really want to waste too much time. I think this is going to be a long video and I don't really want to have you guys just listen to me talk. Let's keep going. Right after that, or not right after, probably 10-15 minutes after that, pretty much right after, we look across the flat too. All right, so now we're on the inside. So now we're in between the two 7 Mile bridges. Looking underneath the old 7 Mile bridge to the outside, to the flat that's facing the Gulf side. I saw this big fin. And I said, look, there's a big fin. And so we went over there and we tried to catch it. We weren't able to catch it, but here is a cool video of this thing's fin. This is like a 6-foot, 7-foot shark. We don't know the species, we couldn't really tell. But it was up in about 1 foot of water and that's why we could see it so easily. It's only like a 10-second clip. I'll go ahead and throw it up.
He's there.
I can't cast it from you.
He's coming this way.
And with that shark going into deeper water and swimming off to into a channel, that wrapped up day 4 of our fishing experience in the Florida Keys. We ended up leaving the next morning and headed back here. I just want to give one real quick shout out to Captain Pips Marina. It was great for us. They had a grill right there. We didn't use it, but we did use the fillet station that was right there. You could put your boat right there next to your room. It was great. So, the Keys trip was awesome. If you enjoyed it, well, I hope you did. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. You can go and watch the other 2 episodes from the series. They do have less talking. But that is it for the Key series. I hope you guys have enjoyed. See you on the next episode. Bye-bye.